Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? It's Richard Quo. This week we're going to talk about how do we get over someone who rejects or leaves us. We have a question from Cassie Bremer. She asks, do you have any advice on how to get over someone leaving you? I used to have a best friend I could tell everything to, and she turned on me and used everything I told her against me. I feel like I can't trust anyone now, and I started getting really depressed once again. How can I get her out of my head? Okay, so in this video, because Cassie asked the question, I'm going to answer the question of how do we get over someone who leaves us, and then I'm going to kind of address a few other points in Cassie's message question, talking about like trusting and things like that, because this is all very, very important. So let's tackle the first question, which is how do we get over someone who rejects or leaves us? So the two words that I've formulated together, the first thing we have to do is we have to forgive the other person. So forgive, and the second thing we have to do is reconcile. So let's talk about forgiveness first. So first you're like, forgive, like this person did really screwed up things to me. So part of forgiveness, what's really important here is to understand that when we want to get over someone, the reason why we can't get over them is because we have all this negative energy around them. And rightfully so. Like if you feel this negative energy, like, oh, this person did something really screwed up to me, like this person left me, and what did I do to deserve this? What I want you to know is that nothing is ever personal. I say this in a lot of my videos, and I'm going to say it again. Nothing is ever personal. So if someone rejects or leaves you, it's not personal. Oftentimes we take it personally because it's happening to us. So what's actually going on if someone rejects or leaves you is that they're going through something themselves. They're like, they have some sort of conflict they're trying to figure out, and usually there's some shame going on in their side, and if they're not shaming, if they don't feel shame, it doesn't even matter. The point is, like, they're working through something. So let's use Cassie's example. She talks about how, I'm reading the comment right now, she talks about how she had this friend. She had this friend who she trusts a lot, and she told her friend everything. And all of a sudden, her friend, her best friend, takes all this vulnerability from Cassie and takes like her deepest, darkest secrets or things that she doesn't share with other people, and she uses it against her. Probably I'm guessing, to fit in and be cool with other people. And all of a sudden, Cassie's best friend likely ended up trying to find a different group. So here's why we should not take anything personally and why we should forgive people. So Cassie's friend, who used like a lot of the negative, like her secrets against her. So what I could read, it might not be right, but what I'm guessing is that her friend, her best friend, Cassie's best friend, used the information because she is longing for acceptance of people. And I think she's utilizing this information about Cassie to like against her so she could fit in with other people, maybe like the cool kids or who her best friend considers to be the cool kids. So that's kind of my guess, and everyone kind of has their own reasons. And for me, I like to practice forgiveness because nothing is ever personal. We just take it personally because it's happening to us. Again, everyone has, if we empathize, if we get to understand what other people are thinking, then we can dig deeper down inside and understand that they don't mean to hurt us. It's just, they're just trying to do their best to survive in whatever condition that they're raised in. So Cassie, whoever has wronged us, just forgive them, and just know that they're just trying to be their best to be human. And it's life is tough sometimes to figure things out, and it's complicated. So that's what I have for the forgiveness part. Now let's talk about the second part, which is reconciliation or reconcile. Okay, so if we want to get over someone, the best thing we can do is we could reconcile with the person. And this serves two purposes. The main thing we want to do when we reconcile with someone else is really it's for ourselves. And let's address one thing. So if under the circumstances that the other person has left us and they're gone from this world, or they're gone and they're just out of our lives and they don't want to talk to us, then it's okay. We can still reconcile by ourselves. But if they're still around, and the conversations are always going to be uncomfortable, but usually if you say something along the lines of like, hey blank, look, is it okay if I talk to you? This is really important to me. Usually they're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. Like, what do you want to talk about? And because if you say it's important, then they're most likely not going to be a dick about it, unless they have like a lot of baggage with you. Again, nothing personal. But if you can reconcile with someone else, go for it, do it. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to talk it out, be vulnerable, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and just kind of ask the questions that you want to, like, hey, like, why did you feel this way about me? I'm just really curious, whether or not you choose to be my friend or romantic partner or whatever after this conversation. I just want to know for myself so I can move on with my life. And that's kind of the power of reconciliation. And hopefully, we can only hope, we can't demand the other person be open, but hopefully they're open enough to say, hey, I did that because this. And what I've learned is, if we want another person to be open, we get to be open ourselves first, because it takes courage. It takes courage to be vulnerable, and usually it's if we expect it out of someone else, we got to, I guess, expect it out of ourselves when we have that chat. And if you can't reconcile with another person, reconcile with yourself. So let's say in Cassie's situation, you have someone who has rejected you, and you feel all this anger and like this like this person sucks. First one, forgive them. Second one, just be like, hey, you know what? It's okay. This person was just, I don't know exactly why, but this person was just being human, and they're just trying their best to do whatever they can. And maybe they didn't make the best decision, but I forgive them for it. And you know what? I'm going to choose to move on with my life. That's what it is. And so that's what I have in terms of answering the question of, let's see, how do we get over someone who rejects or leaves us? Now, I want to address Cassie's second question, which is embedded in her question, which is, I can't trust anyone now, and I'm starting to feel depressed again. So oftentimes we have situations where something traumatic happens to us, like in Cassie's case, her best friend, who she trusted, used that information she gave her against her. And of course, that's so traumatic. Why would we ever want to share anything again with anyone that we quote unquote trust? And it hurts. So what I want to let all of you know, Cassie especially, is that it's important to know, like I guess in a way, like, don't let one person ruin your life in terms of, in this case, trusting. Trust, yes, it's huge, it's important. And just because you've been hurt this one time, don't let that be your life. Don't let that, like, hide yourself from being vulnerable with other people, because it's so important. If you want to build a strong relationship with someone, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be open with another person, because if you're not being open, you're not having a full relationship with someone. You're missing like 90% of the actual relationship if you're not being vulnerable, because that's the deep stuff. That's the stuff that really matters in a relationship, not that 10% surface level stuff. I just made up those numbers, but just to give you a framework or an example. So if you feel like you can't trust someone again, just know that it's because the other person, it's not personal. The other person is just working through whatever challenge that they have, and continue to do your best to trust people, because I know it's challenging. And I guess I can say I've been fortunate with the people I've been around that have been relatively trustworthy. There's a few key people in my life that it's been a challenge with, and I'm learning to balance that, because I have some like close family members that I can't say that's fully that trust relationship that we have, because just based off of how this person grew up. You know, it's nothing personal to me. It's just they grew up saying a bunch of white lies, and that's just the way that person grew up. And you know, I can't control it, and that's the person that person chooses to be. So don't take anything personally. Wrapping up this conversation: number 1, forgive. Number 2, reconcile, and continue to trust. It will make life really beautiful and meaningful. Okay, so thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to see my videos every single week, and be sure to share it, like it, and comment below. Just support my channel because it's still growing. It's a tiny little channel right now. And if you have any other questions, just like Cassie asked me, be sure to just comment below, or you can email me at richard@richardkuo.com, and I'll answer it in future videos, or just privately answer them through comments or email. Okay, thanks so much. Love you all. Take care. Peace. What's going on, ladies and gents? It's Richard Kuo. This week I'm going to talk about how do we stop beating ourselves up. Beating ourselves up is a very common thing we as human beings like to do. It's very natural, but how do we stop doing that?